Alright, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for waiting. This evening we have Kaiserklein versus Knuschelbär, part of our semi-finals best of 7 series of the ESOC WarChiefs Classic 2, and without further ado, we'll begin the game. The first map, of course, is ESOC Great Basin. Like I said, Kaiserklein versus Knuschelbär, Lieutenant General versus Brigadier. Extremely high level match. I think both of these players have been having some excellent performances in tournaments at recent. We have Kaiserklein coming off the back of winning the ESOC Grand Tour playoffs, basically an 8-player invitational for the top performers over the weekend tournaments of the summer. And Knuschelbär also playing really well. He got to the semifinals. He actually got the bronze of that tournament. Of that, that invitational, the Grand Tour playoffs. He played pretty well in the weekend tours himself. Ooh, that's quite fast. Knuschelbär, he also had a really stellar performance in the ESOC Premier League, so he's looking to be quite good himself as well today. Let's see. Forgot to edit my game options before logging in, but that's okay. Now we're good. Love that smooth sailing with my camera here. But like I said, we have Knusch. He's going to be spawning in the green color. It is an Iroquois mirror, the north of Great Basin, Kaiserklein. Let's look at the treasures so far on the map. Actually, before I do that, let's confirm the hunt situation. There's a bighorn sheep, a little bit far for Knusch, but that's kind of standard on Great Basin. Kaiserklein has got 1, 2, 3, one tucked in the back there. I guess the back hunt. We've got bighorns over here. Seems like the bighorns for Knusch. I feel like there's something missing. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, there's 4 hunts. But Knusch kind of has to extend a little bit more for his. Which, given an Iroquois mirror, I mean, that's kind of possible. Both players get a trap wall. No, I mean, I'd say this is fine. I mean, it's a little bit easier for Kaiser to herd in his second hunt. Is that even true? Yeah, nah, that's fine. This is fine. They both have a very easily herdable second hunt, and then if they want to extend it on the map, obviously it's kind of difficult on this map, but they have good regions to do that, Kaiser, it would be over here. For Knusch, it would be over here. Nothing to worry about with the hunt situation, but more importantly, it seems that there's a little bit of a hero contention going on towards the middle of the map. Knusch now bringing his explorer. Oh, get in my line of sight, you little bugger. Knusch now making his way back to his town center after having picked up 75 food treasure. And I imagine Kaiserklein was also keen to take that. Let's tab out a little bit. So not getting the jump on him this time. He did put some damage on Knusch's explorer, some additional damage, and kind of, prevent him from scouting out a little bit more of the map like Knusch might have wanted to do so. Now Knusch actually picking up another conversion on the grizzly bear. Now going to start creeping a 95 wood treasure. Very nice pickup for him. Going to take a little bit more damage unless he's keen. Still going to creep it. Going to try to get the right angle. Good job by Knusch. This is really good treasure keeping, really advanced. And now he's going to fight the grizzly bear with his own grizzly bear to prevent his explorer from taking any more damage. But he is going to pick up that 95 wood. Kaiserklein, on the other hand, let's see what he got. A 60 wood, that's still a good treasure. Not going to take anywhere near as much damage or have to spend as much time taking a treasure like that. Also picking up a 10 coin. Going to make a huge difference there, but 30 coin also in his base. Easily takeable, but he has plenty of coin in his coffers at the moment. I don't think he's going to be wanting to gather much more. He'll easily be able to get hunting dogs, but if he wants to, invest maybe some villager seconds into gathering 70 coin, or just 40 coin if he were to pick up that cougar treasure, then Kaiser would also be able to get the foreign logging upgrade from the market, the 20% woodcutting upgrade, at some point in the game. But considering this is an Iroquois mirror, and Iroquois does have the potential to be quite an aggressive civilization, not sure that we could totally expect that in the early docket. Kaiserklein. Let's see, do any of the players have a market yet? Knusch sitting on the market. Let's see hunting dogs in for him. But for Kaiser, no hunting dogs, no market quite yet. Market going up though. So, ooh, Oh, there was I thought maybe Kaiser had gone for the distribution exactly, getting 50 wood, but he still has some villagers chopping wood, so. But he will be getting hunting dogs quite soon himself, is what I'm trying to say. Knusch now using that converted grizzly bear to, just post it around the map to see where Kaiser might extend out towards for his additional hunts. And Knuschelbär getting up another longhouse, establishing one of some line of sight outwards towards his forward hunts. Also now sending the 800 all resource crate. That gives him 400 food, 200 wood, and 200 koi. That's a very, very interesting first shipment for Knusch. It's actually not a first shipment you typically see with any Iroquois players. This is actually, I think, the first time I'm seeing it as the first card in the colonial age. Oh, and I think I was mistaken, actually. It's apparently 300 food, 300 wood, 200 coin. My bad there. Now, usually players like to use this shipment in the lead up to the Fortress Age. They might have sent like 4 Kanya, 5 villagers, 600 wood, and then they'll send like this all resources shipment to help distribute them for the Asia, while gathering most of the other resources. We do see Knuschelbär training 5 musketeers, 5 tomahawks, excuse me. It seems like Kaiserklein is actually playing defensive here. Not going to at all play aggressive, not going for an aggressive war hut. I'm not sure if he aged up slow, but he is going for 5 villagers first. He got the trading post in transition, and he's going for the all resources crates himself as well. Both players being very careful not to overextend into the Explorer's crack shot, but some extra damage going to get on Knusch's Explorer here. Not a great shot. He only got halfway on it. 1 Ayena and then a little bit more damage on just another. Not a great crack shot for him, especially for all the damage he had to put on his Explorer to get that. He did get a few bits of damage on this trading post, but Kaiserklein also very aware. He's going to repair that right away. However, all things said, Kaiserklein is actually at max population right now, having sent that 5 hills. 5 hills now for Knusch. But sitting on some wood in his coffers. Seems like he's distributing. Distributing for the Asia, but he has popped. Okay, so he does have the house now. He's not going to be popped any longer. 10 Ayenas trained. 5 tomahawks as well. Going to have to be very careful about how he takes this fight. And by take this fight, I mean prevent Knusch from taking an engagement. I think Kaiserklein has in the cards. He wants to age up. Get up as soon as possible. And do that as safely as possible. He has been able to preserve this trading post. Done a very good job at that. Now even taking a second trading post, which is a wise play. I think that gives him a little bit more leverage to keep the same economic bonus, while having the opportunity to not be forced into taking an engagement while he is aging up, which we do definitely know is going to be something Kaiser wants to do. He was in fact also repairing this. I thought he might just go for the second trading post in lieu of repairing this one, but spending the additional wood, it does, like I said, it just buys him a little bit of additional time. But with Kanya's hitting the board for Knusch, we're seeing, we did actually see this matchup in particular in the Grand Tour playoffs between Kaiserklein and Mito, the series that Kaiserklein won. It wasn't Iroquois Mirror, and we actually saw a very similar game plan. Kaiserklein going for the Fortress Age, and his opponent, in this case, Knuschelbär. In the previous instance, it was Mito. This Iroquois player instead committing to the colonial pressure. We're going to have to see how Knuschelbär is able to piece it together, because in Mito's excursion, he wasn't terribly successful, even though, in my opinion, he did play that very, very well. Some excellent micro, macro, very well overall, but it wasn't enough. It wasn't strategically best play, it seems. So we're going to have to see if Knusch is able to do it himself here. Oh, actually, getting that crack shot in a little bit too early. Missed some damage there. If he were just a millisecond later, he would have gotten the, buffed crack shot off. And now losing the second trading post of villager, seemingly gonna go down right. Yeah, but this is really tenuous. Kaiserklein pushing out a little bit too much. Might lose a villager here. One definitely going down. Might lose a few more if this war hut doesn't go up in time. Definitely going to get caught by the Kanya horseman here, and not a lot of tomahawks on the field. Oh, okay, a little keen. Not gonna lose any more explorers. I think that was that 9 tomahawks? No, that was just a big button from the town center, popping out some additional tomahawks to bolster his forces here. We do have some forest prowlers also hitting the board. I don't think we have any upgrades for. Oh, so we have veteran tomahawks now in queue for Kaiserklein. That's going to be good. That's going to help him to establish his footing in the fortress age here. Now getting pushed back, Knusch is actually on the way up himself. It was a wise decision. Instead, not opting to go the way of the Maito, he's going to age up himself, albeit a little bit slower, but he does have pressure on the board. He also did get a few villager kills off on Kaiserklein. Kaiserklein now extending out for his hunt at the back of his base, the rest of his food sources having dried up in base. We do see 8 forest prowlers. First shipment in the fortress age for Kaiserklein, but Knusch, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, we got to 7. Knuschelbär now aged up himself, selecting to send the Travois to his forward war hut. You're going to build another war hut rather than a stable or an artillery foundry. No stable for Knusch, but instead, yeah, going for that very heavy infantry play. Makes sense in an Iroquois mirror where your infantry is your most powerful unit. Another huge crack shot off for Kaiserklein, but another crack shot coming down. Oh, no kills off for Knuschelbär there, but he did get a lot of damage, it seems, on a lot of these infantry units of Kaiser. But this is just not really right. I don't really know if I like this engagement from Knusch right now. He's only been up for a few seconds, hasn't got his first shipment in. He doesn't have the upgrades on his units, doesn't have veteran Tomahawk, veteran Ayena. Not that he's going to get veteran Ayena, but he's definitely lower on the Force Prowler mass, so he's not going to want to fight this, I don't think. It takes some damage on the war hut, but is going to prevent Kaiserklein from taking it down in its entirety. So not too bad overall, I think, for Knusch. He is ahead by 4 villagers, and in addition to that, he still has his safe trading post at the back of his base. More pressure coming forward. Be careful. Still doing okay to trade with his forest prowlers 1 for 1. Just kind of banking on that 8 forest prowler shipment coming in. Knusch, he doesn't have the shipment. I don't know if it's on the way at the moment. He still needs to wait until he's going to get another one. This is rough. Kaiserklein just has a much larger forest prowler mass, and at some point, Knusch is going to be whittled down in terms of his forest prowlers that he's not going to be able to one-shot. Oh my god! Oh, it's seeming like a huge, huge error from Knuschelbär, and this could honestly be game losing. Now losing the forward war, the first war hut. Another huge crack shot off for Kaiserklein, getting some damage on the Explorer. Oh, yeah, that's it. And that's going to be game 1 to Kaiserklein, leading in our best of 7 series, the semifinals match. The qualifiers for the final series against a potential opponent, Lord Raphael and Noel. Lord Raphael and Noel, of course, they're playing sometime next week. They're the other semifinal series, but this is going to put 1 point on the board, bringing Kaiserklein, our perennial champion, our champion of our last tournament. Oh, we didn't even see a GG from Knusch or anything other than... Oh, we did see the GG. My bad. But he was quite upset, a little bit. So dumb, yeah. The forward shipment point being selected to that war hut instead of the inward town center. But even then, I feel like the shipment might have not been the right call. But certainly sending it to your forward war hut that was under siege, about to be destroyed, and, you know, very easy for Kaiserklein to send some additional villagers to come and take that while he had a stronger mass in the back of it. 5 Konya on the field, or 5 Musket Riders, pardon me, on the way as well. Some reinforcements for Kaiserklein. And that's going to pick up game 1 for Kaiserklein. In fact, let's take a quick look at the graphs. Knusch even a little bit ahead in terms of resources. Kaiserklein, you know, having been stuck in his base, idled a little bit, having lost a few villagers. Knuschelbär had a slight economic lead, but when it mattered most, didn't have the military in order to be able to compete with Kaiserklein's earlier fortress timing, and was consequently shut out, especially with an unfortunate first fortress age shipment pop. that will move us on to Game 2 in our series. And of course, Game 2 and Game 3 will be played on UIX New England. I think after that, what we have in store is ESOC High Plains for maps 4 and 5, and ESOC Arkansas. Last maps in the series should go to that, maps 6 and 7. And from the seams of it, the locked civilization of Kaiserklein, providing he won the last game, will be Ottoman. And Knusch, it seems like he's comfortable playing with the Iroquois here as his counter pick. Right, it seems we're ready to go into Game 2 of our Best of 7 series. It is the semifinals match between Kaiserklein and Knuschelbär, ESOC WarChiefs Classic. Now, if the name doesn't imply it itself, this tournament does have some special rules in regards to civilization picks. So like we saw in Game 1 of our series, the players have to select one of the WarChief civilizations. At least for that first game, they have to pick a WarChief civilization. So it's technically or not technically, but kind of a WarChief civilization mirror. It doesn't have to be a mirror in terms of players choosing the exact same civilizations, but it does have to have one of the 3 native civilizations. That's Iroquois, Aztec, and Sioux. But in the next games of the series, the winner of Game 1, or the previous game, actually, yes, the winner of Game 1, going into Game 2, he's supposed to lock a civilization. It can be any civilization, so it still could be a native civilization, but in this case, Kaiserklein having elected for the European, Asiatic, Ottoman, and Knuschelbär instead opting for the Iroquois. That was actually one of his 3 choices. He had the Sioux, Aztec, or Iroquois as his counter pick. On New England, choosing to go for the flavorful Iroquois. Taking a quick look at the hunts here. Very bountiful on the size of Kaiserklein, it seems. Actually, pretty normal hunts. 3 on this side. And for Knuschelbär, we have 1, 2, I'd say that's mid-map. 3. Back for him here. 1 in the back for Kaiser, 2. Seems alright, I guess. I think Kaiser's hunts are a little bit worse. Of course, he does have the accessible second hunt, which is going to be this one. Then he kind of needs to extend out for this one, which can be a little bit annoying. There's 90 food treasure on top of that, though. But he can also go for this one as well. I don't think players tend to reach out for these ones towards mid-map. These hunts towards mid-map. But it is certainly possible. For Kaiserklein, it's a little bit less optimal. It's still fine because I think Knusch also has to extend out quite far for his next hunts. You can see him putting the Iroquois longhouse. Travois, he converted that into a longhouse, putting it on top of that next hunt, the 3rd hunt. Extend out towards. Some sheeps on the way back for Knusch as well, and a converted pirate as well, using to fight this outlaw rifleman, taken down right now. Even got an outlaw rifleman for himself, 95 wood on the floor. That's a very good pickup, especially the Pokemon team of Knusch shaping up quite nicely with a rifleman and a pirate. Those are very, very strong guardians. Definitely going to help him to establish control in early age 2, around the middle of the map, should he choose to go for like a forward war hut and maybe some aggression towards Kaiserklein, or however he will piece together his build order to counter our European player. Oh, even picking up 2 dogs. Again, we've got 4 on the team of 6 for our Pokemon team for Knusch here. Whereas lonely Mr. Kaiserklein would not make it into the tall grass. He does not have even a starter Pokemon for himself, I guess, unless you consider a trading post to be a starter Pokemon. But now actually going for 2 trading posts. Knusch also went for one himself. Seems like he probably gathered 100 wood in transition. Actually, he probably only had to gather 5 wood. So we remember he got the 95 wood there, so was able to build it right after, even getting a Coureur de Bois. Wow, as long as Kaiserklein doesn't scout out the location of that Coureur, that could provide some immense value for Knusch here. But still, the way that this matchup plays out in particular, Ottoman versus Iroquois, actually a classic matchup. The early Asian Dynasty tournament days. Now, the way this matchup usually plays out is the Ottoman player usually gets a huge tech advantage in the Fortress Age, a lot faster than the Iroquois player can do so. And so, utilizing that technology advantage, they're able to, boast economic bonus of these trading posts, which is experience, and get some strong shipments out in the Fortress Age, and make a counter push towards the Iroquois player's forward base. Now, between the aggressive Age 2 plays and Age 3 options, the Fortress options of Iroquois, I'm not entirely sure which one is, considered the favored build order among the PR40s nowadays, but in this particular matchup, we are going to see an aggressive War Hut, and with 4 Kanya hitting the board, it does seem like Knusch is going to opt for some very aggressive H2 play. Kaiserklein actually putting down the barracks himself early in H2, so he might go for a semi-fast fortress himself, rather than all-out fast fortress, and with the 700 wood on the board, definitely a semi-fast fortress. Oh, not even a semi-fast fortress. The artillery foundry coming out might lead us to believe Kaiserklein is actually going to commit to H2 somewhat, maybe going Obus Jan. Defensive, of course. Just initially. Only 3 Janissaries in that first batch, but I think 3 Janissaries might be enough to ward off 4 Kanya horsemen, provided there isn't a Iroquois warchief in the back of that. But more Tomahawks on the board. I don't know if 5 of those were trained. Let's see, text completed. So no big button. That was 10 Tomahawks trained, it seems, from Knusch. Pardon me. Let's look at the shipments sent and all units. 9 Tomahawks. So he did miss 1 batch, but that's A-okay. He's going to take down one of these trading posts. Kaiserklein going for the very ambitious placement there. Just parking some Janissaries on his hunts, going to protect his villagers. Good job by Kaiserklein. But I don't know that this was very, very risky, especially with his Explorer being at such low health points. Knusch now moving on to the second trading post. He knows the location of. Sieging that with his Guardians. This is very, very... Oh my god. The Aenas, yes, they are going to scout this trading post, so once they see how low that Explorer is, yeah, they're going to focus fire that down. Good job by Knusch. He's going to prevent that trading post from going up and probably take down this trading post as well before Kaiserklein has a say in it. Good job by Knusch. Now Kaiserklein, he sees that the infantry mass from Knusch is kind of in a weird location in terms of, just continuing to defend his forward position. So he was going to go forward with his Janissaries, but at the same time that Kaiserklein was moving his Janissaries forward to start pushing out of his base, Knusch came in with a little bit of a raid with his Kanya. I really like that. Knusch is a very, very intelligent player with these raiding timings, and getting to see that in action, just mind gaming his opponent so well, that was a little bit of a small pleasure. But Knusch also very aware of the impending mass from the Ottoman player. He's going to elect to just work around the side of the bend of that pond. You see something coming in. Check on that. A donation from, let's see, JT Kirk. Thank you very much for your contribution. $1.98, couldn't make the $2. You're going to make everyone upset with the way that donation bar is going to look. I hate, well, given 8 isn't an odd number, but it is not 0. Which is much more preferable. 8 decimal points. More like the dollar signs. But a galley coming out for Kaiserklein. Oh, it seems it even might have misspawned. Sending 2 galleys. Okay, never mind. They were just a little clogged up. We do see the 2 galleys coming in. Might take down this war hut, but some pressure that was seeming to come around the side of this pond is now going to be called back to Knuschelbär's base. He does have the war hut up safe at home. He's going to be able to hold. Kaiserklein is looking to push, and it seems like he is. A lot of Janissaries and not too many Obus. That's an interesting play. He's going to micro the heck out of those Obus for sure. And by not building too many of them, he doesn't leave himself too exposed to, just getting caught off guard by Knusch if Knusch were to go for like, a cavalry switch. Commit to the H2, but that isn't what he's going to be doing today. Instead, going up to Fortress H, building another war hut. Might lose the market. Some galleys coming out, and that's going to be very hard for... Oh, wow, so unfortunate. The galley now being taking down the longhouse. Oh, just looking at it. Even once Knusch is going to be up in the Fortress Age, he's not going to have any population space to train any units. You can see 44 now out of 40. Barreling towards another one of these longhouses. Knusch again, tenuous, very careful. He's gonna, DPS down some of the Janissaries, ward off the Janissary mass from taking down that longhouse for the time being. Even using the Guardians at this point in the game to buy him some time. Very, very nice. Put Kaiserklein in the back of it with a 600 wood shipment and, staving off some Janissaries to begin sieging on the trading post of Knuschelbär. He's going to take control of the trading post himself as well with these 2 galleys establishing so much control around the side of the map for him. Now the Obus mass. Again, not overcommitting to the Obus production. Not producing too much. Oh! Not too big of shots. They did kill, this Iroquois war chief did kill one of the Obus guns, and the town center took down another one. But again, not terribly disastrous for Kaiserklein here. But the Obus gun mass being whittled down quite effectively by Knusch. Klein's going to opt to go back. I think, looking at his resource distribution, he's going to look to distribute to Age up in the back of it, especially now having taken control of the Stagecoach trading line. His economy is going to be quite good, in fact, far better than Knuschelbär's. 21 to 27, but in the back of that you have a 4 TP Stagecoach. That's going to be put Kaiserklein quite a far ahead, especially with all the line of sight and control that these trading posts provide, as well as having the 2 galleys in the pond for Knusch. It's going to make it very difficult, especially with this very, very thin pass around the middle of the map for Knusch. It's going to make it a lot... It's just very hard for him to, work his way around the map and take the engagements he wants to be taking. In fact, just sieging down this trading post is going to be a difficult task, because you can see now getting focus fired down by the galley, these units. They can't take it down because they're just going to get shot by the very, very powerful warships that the Ottoman player has on the field. The crack shot going off. Taking down almost 2 Obus guns, but Kaiserklein, always quick. The micromanagement was able to put them in stagger mode and mitigate some of that damage. It does seem like Knusch might get one of these trading posts, but I don't know that it'll be enough, considering that Kaiserklein is now in the Fortress Age himself, liable to get these upgrades. Maybe a 2 Falconet shipment. 6 Kanyas on the field, but again, just so awkward. Shot down by these galleys. Gonna have to drag them this way and then come around the coast with the rest of these reinforcing units, but oh my gosh, it just provides so much more. Oh, actually, the war hut getting some line of sight of the galley, and if Kaiserklein, okay, he is aware of it. Gonna take some damage, but he's gonna save the galley there. Now, pushing out on Kaiserklein's exposed hunts, 2 Falconets in it, precarious position. The Janissaries not in the back of it, not even being upgraded to veteran yet. Gonna lose a lot of villagers here. It seems like maybe that was 6 villagers. Let's see. Units lost. 8 villagers lost for Kaiserklein. I don't know if that was all in that batch, but now the Kanya Horsemen going forward. Not gonna quite get... Not gonna get there. Gonna lose a lot of the Kanye horsemen for that, but taking down so many more villagers. He did lose 3 Kanye horsemen, didn't get the falconets, but did take down 3 villagers from Kaiserklein, putting Kaiser at a significant, even another one, 4 villagers down in that tiny excursion. Now going back, and of course, Kaiserklein is going to have absolute knowledge of even shooting over the pond. I didn't take down a Janissary there, but that was quite quite funny. So Kaiserklein is going to have full knowledge of Knusch's military movement across the middle of the map here with these warships and the trading posts. So Knusch is not going to be able to overstay his welcome here. He's going to be forced back, but that's fine because Kaiserklein's military is not really going to be able to catch up, but falconet's being laid out, going to get some shots off. It's still in line of sight. Not going to get a really long-range shot off. So Kaiserklein, sorry, Knuschelbär is going to be able to escape here, but not after having, not without having done some significant damage. Look at that economy, 14 to 35, and even with 4 stagecoach, 4 trading post stagecoach, I don't quite know that that's going to make up for 15 now. 15 villagers lost. Oh my god. The Kanye horsemen's wrapping around the bend, wrapping around the pond, coming down to this exposed mining location of Kaiserklein, taking down another 3 villagers. Oh, but if Knusch is not careful about this engagement that he's taking, you know, the Falconet's still well and truly alive, losing so many of these forest prowlers. I don't know what he's up to. Falconet's now being taken down. The Kanye horseman's in melee with the Janissaries, mostly getting taken down, but the entire Ottoman mass, it's gone. GG called by Kaiserklein. GG, well played. Wow. It was quite something to behold. At so many points caught with exposed villagers, Kaiserklein taking a huge economic disadvantage. And while it was looking tenuous for Knusch, while Kaiserklein was able to establish complete control of the mid-map, destroy Knusch's forward war hut, wrest control of these of the pawns aggressively with the 2 galley shipment, it wasn't enough. And that's going to be very frustrating for Kaiserklein, which ties the series up. Knusch and Kaiser are now 1-1. Let's take a quick look at the graphs. I apologize for being a little bit slow with that. And I think I did miss a donation or a subscription. I apologize for that. I'll make sure to take a look at that for the game. After looking at the stats a little bit, combat going into the favor of Knuschelbär. Just look at this villager graph. Huge raids going off. A huge raid going off for Kaiser, and then Kaiser not being too wary with his villagers at this point where, you know, there was a small military engagement. Knusch, like I said, you know, he lost 3 Kanyas there and a few more units in the retreat. Killed so much there. It was definitely worth it. You know, what he lost, which was maybe 10 population worth of units, he also killed 10 population worth of units, except instead of losing maybe 20% of his army, he destroyed what seems like 50% of Kaiserklein's economy. A very worthy trade, and that is going to take a game off of Kaiserklein. Tie the series up 1-1. It is a best of 7, so it's going to go to 4 points in our series here. But the map will be New England again. Knusch will have the opportunity to lock any civilization that he wishes. Kaiserklein will have the opportunity to counterpick with one of the 3 WarChiefs civilizations: Sioux, Iroquois, or Aztec. Just before we log into that next game, Knusch still deciding on a civilization, maybe taking a short break. You want to see who it was that might have donated or subscribed. I apologize for not being totally keen, but you know, I was in the throes of the moment. We just had a big win for Knusch, and while I don't think Kaiserklein is necessarily not prone to tilt. Usually when he tilts, he doesn't play poorly afterwards. He just gets a little bit angry. Let's see here. So even though that might have been a little bit of an upsetting loss for Kaiserklein, I wouldn't anticipate him to play any more poorly in the next games. Wow, in fact, the Knusch locking Iroquois again, and it's going to be an Iroquois mirror. Let's see real quick. Players electing for an Iroquois mirror as our Game 3 New England. JT Kirk, thank you for the $1.52 donation, which probably fixed the donation bar. Look at that, $10, nice and even. Locking into Game 3, it's Iroquois versus Iroquois, 1-1, tied between Kaiserklein and Knuschelbär. This game will put one of those players ahead, 1 point closer to that 4 games that they need to move on to the finals. Another best of 7 series, potentially against Lord Raphael or Noel. Would also like to mention before our EP game saves that this tournament, the ESOC WarChiefs Classic, was funded entirely by I Will Spank You, $500 in the tournament prize pool to begin with. As well, all donations today will go towards this prize pool. So if you have a favorite player between these two, Knusch and Kaiserklein, you'd like to contribute to their payroll, half of all donations today, and in the final series and bronze series and the other semifinal series, will go towards the tournament prize pool. As well, if you enjoy the content, you enjoy what ESOC does and want to see Age of Empires 3, what the heck? What the heck is going on here? Seems like a little bit of a bugged treasure. Okay. Yeah, maybe like I was saying about that tilt, about being upset after taking a loss in that game too. Now normally in that case, I think in this case, thank you for lightening the mood, Daniel, with that $1.01 donation. Now, normally in this case, it would be a map win, but I think not much had happened in the game so far, and I don't think it's worth it to lose out on a potentially good game for such a silly reason. So we'll just call the re. I think both players are happy to play an actual game. We'll be moving on, like I said, to Game 3 in our best of 7 series between Kaiserklein and Knuschelbär. Scores tied 1-1. And winning this game puts one of those players slightly closer to that 4 games that they need to advance to the final series, potentially against Lord Raphael or Noel. The map is New England, a classic map from beginning of Age of Empires. So we do see some 2 safe hunts for Knusch and some very good extensions for him over on this side of the map. Kaiserklein, again, 2 safe hunts, and then a nice extension, a nice 3rd extension. This is some good hunt action that we see on the map so far. Very, very bountiful. Very, very, maybe even, one might say, gratuitous. But I think it's quite good, and I quite like it when the map spawns like this because there's no opportunity for a player to complain about the caster not having checked the map for hunts. The map doing the work for me and spawning properly. Although I think this Treasure Guardian might be missing a bear. Not entirely sure. You see a, what is this? 135 experience points for Knuschelbär. I have converted an Outlaw Pistolero earlier to pick up, it seems like a native scout, and he's going to help Knusch scout out around the map. Knusch, so he did kill one of the grizzly bears there, sorry, black bears. But he's not going to elect to gather the rest of that, instead going barreling straight for this trading post over here. Kaiserklein, similarly, probably going to take an Age 1 trading post for himself after picking up 95 wood, but oh my gosh, with the Outlaw Rifleman convert, there's going to be some contention going down. Especially now with the native scout even coming in. This Outlaw Rifleman boasts 40 attacks, so he can definitely put a lot of DPS on that Explorer there. But now losing his Guardian. Kaiserklein trying to focus down the Guardian of Knusch, but also having to place down the trading post himself. And now he is at a significant disadvantage. Just look at that health point. Those health points compared to Knusch. He might even lose this Explorer. And it seems like that's actually what's going to happen. I think he'll get this trading post up. He definitely will. And by staying close to this trading post, you know, he's going to be able to revive his Explorer immediately once he's regained enough health points. But with that said, 100 experience points have gone to Knusch, and free reign over the treasure taking of the map has also gone to his favor. A big lead for Knusch here, even getting the 3 villagers out a little bit sooner. Now, I don't know if he's necessarily gathered more resources because of that than Kaiserklein. In fact, Kaiser's looking a little bit better, more geared up to go to Colonial Age. Just look at that. 70 food for Knusch, as well as the opportunity for this 135 XP. Ooh, even something over here that I didn't notice. 90 food, so another 90 food. 70 food, 135 XP. He has taken a lot of damage on his Explorer. Gonna go down to, it seems like, sub 100 health points. That should be alright. And even looking at it now, I think Knusch might even be taking a slow age up. Let's look at the text being researched. Now, the wise woman. So it is going to be a slow age up for Knuschelbär. And Kaiserklein is going to be aging up fast. So he's going to be the aggressor in this matchup. He's going to get his war hub up, probably towards mid-map, probably past this trading post. Probably maybe like right here to the center fold location. Now getting a little bit harassed by this native scout of Knusch. Knusch, on the other hand, it seems like he's chopping for something in particular. We see his Explorer coming back, so it's not going to be another trading post. I wonder what he's stacking up this wood for. So he's aging up slow. 5 villagers, first aggressive shipment for Kaiserklein. That's going to give him a strong economy in the back of this. And, you know, having those 5 villagers working for him in the time it just takes Knusch to age up. This is actually going to put Kaiser at a pretty significant economic lead. Because Kaiserklein is also going to have faster production on his villagers, considering he didn't have to idle his town center with the age-up technology, basically. but not taking the necessarily most aggressive line of play. Knusch seems like he might be going for just a naked fast fortress, given this food count. Now, he could also be preserving that food for the big button technology. Seems he does have some tomahawks in queue here. Let's look at the units in queue. It's from some Aena, actually. So he's going to utilize that food to train some defensive Aena. Aena also coming out for Knusch, or sorry, Kaiser. Pardon me, I keep mixing up their names, but it's all right. For Kanya, actually, despite the slow age up and the proclivity one might expect for a player to go for a more heavy economic build, for Kanya, Kanya Horseman is going to be the first shipment for Knuschelbär. But just look at this villager population, 25 to 17, and even some aggression now coming out for Kaiser. Look at that, a villager going down for Knusch. 16 to 25, pressure in the base. Gonna idle Knusch in his town center. Now very exposed. 5 Kanya Horsemen. Oh, but getting pushed back. Nice pull trick by Kaiserklein. Gonna jettison himself out of there. Not get caught by the Kanya Horsemen of Knuschelbär under town center fire, war hut fire. Potential for another pop. 5 tomahawks. I'm not sure if those were trained. Seems like they weren't trained. Seems like it was the big button engagement going out here. Explore for Kaiserklein going down. 5 tomahawks coming forward, getting into melee with the Kanya Horseman. Kanya Horseman going down for Knusch. But now some melee tomahawks also coming forward for Knusch. Gonna get into contact with the Kanya Horseman, but not enough to snare. Kaiserklein is safe under his own war hut now. And I might say that that went more to the favor of Kaiserklein. So banking off the damage he did earlier, there's now 5 villagers on the field for Knusch, but having, aged up slow, so he missed some villager seconds there, like 60 villager seconds, so at least 2.5 villagers. He lost a villager, and he was much slower in sending his 5 villagers. He's at a significant economic disadvantage here. It's going to slightly even out, but having also been pressured and idled in his town center, it's not looking too good for Knusch at the moment. He does have a score lead, but I might say that the more favorable position go to Kaiserklein here. But Knusch, he's good at making a comeback in situations like these. Now utilizing his 2 Kanya Horsemen instead of keeping them for defensive purposes, he's gonna send those around the back to potentially raid Kaiserklein. And in the back of it, Knusch still has his Explorer up at a decent health points. The Explorer of Knusch having half of his HP in total, whereas Kaiserklein's Iroquois Explorer has yet to be revived. A raid going down, gonna take down at least 1 villager, maybe a second, because it doesn't seem as though Kaiserklein's noticed it yet. In an engagement at the same time, again, good multitasking by Knusch. Let's see, 1, 2, 3 even. 3 villagers going down. The war hut under siege. Seems like a 4th is also going to go down. And Kaiserklein is completely tunnel visioned. And he's establishing himself, for an engagement at this forward war hut. But he's lost almost 5 villagers now. Let's look at the units lost. That's 5 at minimum. 1 of the Kanya Horsemen going down. Some town center fire. Seems like he won't lose another one. And he is going to push back Knuschelbär right at the moment. Might revive his Explorer, and that's going to be so important. Pull him back, baby. There you go. All right, so Kaiserklein is safe, but look at the economies. What is this? It's evened out. Despite such a huge lead for Kaiserklein, he got tunnel visioned at the moment that Knuschelbär was pushing his forward war hut. And he lost so many villagers to just two Kanya Horsemen. Even just one of them being at like 70 hit points would have been very easy to focus fire down by the villagers. And now the economies are even. Knuschelbär establishing himself again. Like I said, he's so good at these comebacks, so good at multitasking, playing tactically. Now even putting up the wall, I love this play. He's gonna, leave himself out 3 deer here, but that's okay. He wouldn't have been able to herd them in anyway, considering there's some Iroquois forces from Kaiserklein coming forward. So it does seem we see Knuschelbär gearing for the age up again. I like this play. He's got a good defensive positioning. The only thing Knusch does not have going for him is his hunt situation, his food situation. At this point, he's exhausted pretty much all the food in his base besides his berries, which are going to be gathering very slowly, considering Knusch does have hunting dogs. He's going to be wanting to utilize hunts on the map to make use of that bonus. But you know, he's focused on food at the moment. He is going to be gearing up to age. He is aging at the moment himself. Kaiserklein nowhere near the age of himself, instead committing to age 2. Big 6 Tomahawk shipment, and it seems like units completed. Sorry, text completed. That was called much earlier. But the mass of Kaiserklein bolstered very much. If Knusch is not aware, he might get caught out here. Just look at this. Oh my god, caught at the exact right timing. Another war hut coming up for Knusch, but he's going to lose his entire military mass at the moment, not having been able to get the veteran upgrades or establish himself with a fortress shipment. Now just getting in the experience points for that, but losing his entire military mass in the back of it. I don't know that there is a shipment that can bring Knuschelbär back in this game besides potentially 5 Cuirassiers. But all of these Tomahawks of Knusch getting slaughtered by the Hyena of Kaiserklein. Taking an excellent engagement. Oh, now in such bad range. In range of the Hyena here with the Force Prowlers. One of the war huts beginning to being sieged down by Tomahawks. But in the back of it, Kaiserklein is stacking a little bit of wood, so his reinforcements are not going to be the best. 8 Force Prowlers on the board for Knusch. This is going to be really good, especially with the Hyena masses separated from the Tomahawks here. He's going to lose a lot of Tomahawks. Knusch going to get a lot of good value. Still, Knusch sitting with a very exposed economy. Now going to hide it from Kaiserklein. So while that wasn't a great fight, that wasn't the most optimal situation for Knuschelbär, I don't think he's in the most solid position. You know, it's not totally over yet. So Kaiserklein, he's establishing control on the stagecoach line, trading post line, in the middle of the map. Probably gearing up to get stagecoach and another economic bonus. Probably looking to as well take down the trading post over here. It seems, again, Kaiserklein not gearing up to age up himself. He's committing to age 2. Does have the economic lead at the moment. And of course, Knusch does not have safe resources, but with just enough coins stacked up and a shipment on the way, I think we know what that is. That's going to be 5 Cuirassiers, which is exactly what Knuschelbär needs to balance out his composition. That kind of just gives him the comeback potential. You know, 5 Cuirassiers, they're the strongest shipment that Iroquois can send in the Fortress Age. And with that splash damage, you know, the ridiculous DPS of Forest Prowlers to kill off counter cavalry, that could be exactly what Knuschelbär needs. Especially now, knowing the exact location of Kaiserklein's army, he's going to push out towards this forward war hut. What Kaiserklein really needs right now, it's a big reinforcement batch of Kanya horsemen. And with melee tomahawks and a big batch of Kanya horsemen, I think he might be able to hold the 5 Cuirassiers, the Force Prowler mass that's coming out for Knusch. So there we go. We see the 5 Renegade French, 5 Cuirassiers. Oh, a big raid coming up here now, having scouted out the hunting location of Knuschelbär. There are going to be a lot of dead villagers here, and I don't think Knusch is going to be able to connect in time to ward off these Kanya horsemen. There is going to be an engagement over here. Oh, a lot. Okay, so the Kanya horsemen are being staved off, but not without having lost so many villagers for Knusch. And now absolute knowledge of where Knusch is getting his food from. His knowledge that Kaiserklein has. He's going to be able to jockey position for himself to be able to, take this engagement, take the winning engagement. No reinforcements can come safely for Knusch here. Gearing up, it's still tenuous. Everything piecing together. Gonna try to pull here. Knusch also getting some DPS. It's so tricky, this engagement. Vienna's going forward. It seems like it's go time. Infantry attack coming in for Kaiserklein. Kanya Horseman's connecting, but also getting, kind of trampled by these Cuirassiers. Kanya Horsemen do not want to be fighting the Cuirassier. You want the Tomahawks with them at the very least, in melee mode. Now snaring them, but really good pull by Kaiserklein, dragging those Kanya Horsemen over to the Force Prowler mass of Knuschelbär. Knusch trying to focus fire down the Tomahawks, but it's not enough. One of the Cuirassiers going down. Force Prowler is getting caught in the snare. A lot of Kanya Horsemen have been evaporated, but a big reinforcing batch of 5 is going to maybe seal the deal here. We see Kaiser at a huge economic lead and even some exposed villagers that if Knusch is not able to take the engagement here, he's going to lose all of that as well as his gathering location. And it seems like 8 Kanya Horsemen on the Force Prowler mass cleaning up house. Seems like a game in the bag for Kaiserklein. I just don't think Knusch has anything in the cards left for him. Having sent his most powerful shipments, 8 Force Prowler, 5 Cuirassier. Nothing left on the board for him. So I think what happened is Kaiserklein selected a villager with his market. He selected a villager and built a market on this this stone path over here, which actually deletes the stone path. And the reason he did that is so that he would have a better position to snare Knuschelbär's army. And Knusch was kind of banking on having this, this obstruction that would prevent Kaiserklein from getting into snare with his military, which is usually very, very good at range. Force Prowlers just have insane DPS and actually very good health points as well. So they're pretty hard to take down, even for cavalry units. But Kaiserklein making use of a little trick like that, completely to Knusch's unawareness, and good engagement being caught for him there. We'll bring him up 2-1 in this series. But yeah, just this early fortress was just caught out at the exact right time. It was very hard for Knusch. Yeah, there were a lot of units in base, but I feel like if he could have somehow prevented that engagement from happening, just maybe not left his military units right under his town center, maybe just, drag them to somewhere else. I don't know if that would have been better, but, it would have bought him a little bit more time, which might have been what he needed. Of course, he was eventually able to get a good tactical placement with his units. He had the Hyenas chasing down some Tomahawks over here, and then some exposed Kaiserklein Tomahawks, which were made shooting practice for his 8 Force Prowler pop from his town center. That was a pretty good play, and, it stabilized him a little bit, but it was after he had lost everything in early Fortress in the transition, and that just made it so much harder to come back from that point. Kaiserklein doing a good job there, and that will put him ahead in this series after Game 3, going into Game 4. The map is going to be ESOC High Plains, and Kaiserklein will lock his civilization. Yes, exactly. Yeah, so Knuschelbär, he has to lock a counter pick with either Aztec, Sioux, or Iroquois. A little bit confused there. Right. Seems like Germany versus. Ooh. Okay. Germany versus Iroquois is what's going to be our matchup for Game 4 on ESOC High Plains. High Plains will also be the map in Game 5, should it go to that. But we do see Kaiserklein leading the series 2-1. So it is possible. Oh, wait. So, yes, it will always go to Game 5. It'll always go to Game 5. We'll always see High Plains played one more time after this game. But we are seeing Germany versus Iroquois. Of course, Kaiserklein was. Right. Germany was Kaiserklein's locked civilization. He's playing to the northeast of the map, color blue. And Iroquois was the WarChiefs counterpick of Knuschelbär. He's playing to the southeast in the color green. So like I mentioned earlier, 50% of donations today will go towards the tournament prize pool. So if you have a favorite player from this bunch, whether you're a supporter of Kaiserklein, Knuschelbär, Lord Raphael, or Mr. Noel, half of your donations today will go towards the prize pool for this tournament, and half of your donations will go towards hosting future events on ESOC. So if you're just a general ESOC supporter, you like Age of Empires 3 and you want to see it continue on to the future with these tournaments and events and streamed matches, any donation is appreciated and always helpful. See here an 80 food contention. Now being creeped by Kaiserklein, but noticed by Knuschelbär. Knusch gonna get some damage in. Gonna have to be careful. Ooh, gonna take a lot of damage here, especially with that pistolero even getting stolen. So I think Kaiser, he's going to be able to technically escape, but not without having taken a lot of damage first. Probably going to go down to maybe, I'd say 150 health points before he's able to make it back safely under his town center. Now Knusch even going for the converge, getting in some additional damage. Kaiserklein is getting some good scouting information, but he's gonna take a lot of damage because of this particular route he went. Getting another shot in from the pistolero. And very, very low here. Now Knusch even taking the safe 75 coin over by the side of Kaiserklein's base. Kaiserklein being very daring, going for this. I think actually what he's planning to do is crack shot this outlaw pistolero. There you go. Prevent him from, ever being contested by that. Having to deal with that again in the future. I'm just going to creep something simple, a coyote over here. A little bit more damage, but good shot. Up 30 food for himself. That's nothing compared to the treasures that Knusch's been picking up. We see 75 coin, 80 food, a native scout, and now 60 experience points, if I'm not mistaken. Knusch already on the way up. He's going to be hitting up to the the colonial age, at what seems like maybe 3 minutes and 15 seconds. Seems like I was wrong, actually. Maybe it's a slow age up. Let's take a look. Yes, the Wise Woman, actually. The Wise Woman again. So it was a very, very early age up for Knusch. You can see he aged up with 13 villagers on account of that 75 food treasure, in part. Going up very low economy, but it's going to establish him a lot of control in early fortress, despite going for this slightly more greedy build order. Of course, it's not that greedy. I mean, it's still a 90-second age up time, which is the standard for all civilizations. It's not particularly greedy, but it's not super aggressive either, necessarily. If you were going for a super aggressive build order, you would always age up fast, place a forward war hut, and he still could do a forward war hut, but with it, he'll also get some resource crates to boot. Now going for the trading post, even fact, a little bit, oh no, a little bit earlier than the German player was able to do it, but I don't know that Kaiserklein is even going to be able to get that trading post. If Knusch is, very active, you see this war hut going up. He's not going to be, Kaiser's not going to be able to get this trading post. Even getting this trading post is going to be a huge struggle, because by the time that is built, we might even see some units on the field for Knuschelbär. In fact, it seems like this was the one that Kaiserklein was going for, but not having scouted it, scouting that it was taken by Knusch. Oh, he is just in dire straits here. This age 1, a lot of players, they think that age 1 isn't actually a big deal in Age of Empires 3. They think you can kind of just get along, coast, and do anything, and that'll be okay. But what we saw in this game was that Kaiserklein, he had his scouting path limited. He got no treasures besides 30 food and 30 coin. And now he's also not getting his trading post in transition, and that is going to have a significant impact on this matchup. So you take it. This is a PR 40 plus game. You have a brigadier versus a lieutenant general, pardon me. And now the explorer getting harassed even further. This just goes to show how important age 1 can be. And if it's important at the very highest level, it's going to be important for improving your gameplay at any level, that you perfect this age 1, like we see these players doing. 4 Kanya Horsemen coming in for Knuschelbär, taking down that explorer. That explorer by the town center. Ooh, big pop. 2. I don't know that this is... Okay, it's seeming pretty good for Kaiserklein. So the 2 Yulins are going to do a good job snaring the Kanya Horsemen, but there was a big shot off by the, all those Expo-men getting bunched up. The Explorer got a big shot off with his crack shot ability. And we see only 4 Expo-men left on the board. Although we do see the Explorer for Knuschelbär getting taken down. That's going to be a big pickup. Pardon me, let's look at the actual relevant things on the UI. Villagers now coming out for Knusch, gonna get some economy in the back of it after having dealt some damage. Prevented Kaiserklein from going for an economic shipment himself. But, despite that age 1, I don't think Kaiserklein is in necessarily that bad of a position. Obviously, fighting Iroquois units with age 2 Expo Pike as Germany is not the best, but I think he's in a good position. He has good economic upgrades, both hunting dogs and steel traps, and gang saw. And going for this build order that he's going for, I think he'll be able to make something of it. I think the next shipment probably going to be 700 wood, actually 3 settler wagons. Still good, that's going to put him ahead in the economy department. But the biggest loss, a little bit of scouting material here. Oh, going to lose the explorer, but that's okay, I suppose. Biggest loss there is the 45 experience granted to Knuschelbär. I think he was probably trying to get a sneaky trading post, but that not working out here. Yeah, so the biggest decider here, I think, is just going to be that trading post that Knuschelbär has and Kaiserklein does not. We see 7 Aena now hitting the board, 5 Aena trained. Oh, even more Aena as well. Plenty of tomahawks. This could be a very good engagement for Kaiserklein, or sorry, Knuschelbär, pardon me. Even reviving the Explorer. Might get focus fire down, but it's not going to be enough. He is going to escape. Oh, with the town center fire. Good shot by Kaiserklein. Going to take it down. But still in a precarious position. He does have the resources for Minutemen. Minutemen being called. They're in queue. Whether or not they're going to pop, he might cancel it. Putting the pikemen into cover mode. Going to sponge some damage, but it's not going to be enough because these Expo-men are pretty low DPS. The Aena mass in the back are just happy to get any shots off without being pressured. A villager going down. Minutemen was canceled, but now Kaiserklein doesn't even have the food in order to be able to call Minutemen. He has the coin. He did cancel the Minutemen shipment there. But now back to gathering resources. You know, like I was saying, I was thinking, you know, it might be okay for Kaiserklein just looking at, you know, he has good upgrades, he's in a relatively stable position, but not being able to get that trading post, you know, having a really, really bad Age 1, just not being let to get any treasures around the map. Knusch is just in such a commanding position, and even now sending the all resources crates. I wonder if he's even gearing up to age up himself, Knusch that is. Something that the German player would typically like to be doing in this circumstance. Or rather, under normal circumstances. Now it seems like it's go time for Knuschelbär. He's converging all of his military units towards this position. 700 wood the next shipment for Kaiserklein, but with 2 production facilities, okay, he will be able to put that into units right away. Bolster his mass, but I don't know that it's going to be enough because, oh, you see that with the the native scout actually reviving the explorer for Knusch there, and with that explorer probably now safe behind the ranks of the Iroquois military. It's going to be really difficult for Kaiserklein to piece something together here. Pushing in. Keep an eye on the coin count, because that's going to be when we can know that Kaiserklein has called Minutemen. So now the military unit population is roughly even, but you also have to consider that these X-Women are quite weak and these Aena are quite strong. Behind all of that, Knuschelbär is also going to have his Explorer to help him. Actually, lost his Explorer again, probably to Town Center fire. A little bit unfortunate for Knusch there. Good job by Kaiser. But still, these Iroquois units are just slightly more stronger, even without any shipment upgrades at this point. So here we go, some additional Kanya having hit the board. Sable for Knuschelbär working for him. It's very close, but conservative tactics in, and there you go. So the timing push for Kaiserklein is right now. Once he's had his 3 Doppelsoldners hit on the board, he's going to have a significant military unit population lead, but in terms of the strength of his units, it's not entirely there. Knuschelbär's units are going to be a lot stronger, but again, the more stuff principle. If you have more stuff, chances are you're in the lead. Still, the Kanya Horseman going to put the X-Bowman into snare, now being called back. But again, is still getting some DPS in. Nice DPS by the Expos on the Kanya, though. I take down, in part, some of their counter unit. Ooh, even a shot off on the Tomahawks. Might get a second. Not quite, so not even one Tomahawk going down there. Oh! Nope, not quite. Oh, but look at how many Kanya Horsemen are on the board here. Knusch just stalling for time at this point, it seems. Because the longer this game goes, the better it gets for the Iroquois player. Losing one Tomahawk, might even lose some additional units here. Nice focus fire by Kaiserklein. Oh, good positioning. Good positioning for Kaiser. Getting some good damage in. Gonna have to be careful with that anti-cav here, especially coming around the bend. Oh my gosh, now 3 Kanya Horsemen. Okay, they're all being pulled together, so actually not going terribly to the way of Knuschelbär as I was hoping, but now all of the... Oh my gosh, this engagement is crazy. So we see all the anti-cavalry on Knuschelbär's Kanya Horsemen. Every single Kanya Horseman being taken down here. But the Yulins are being melted as well. And now all that's left on the field is some X-Bowmen for Kaiserklein and the infantry mass of Knuschelbär. And I honestly think that this infantry mass is perfectly capable of handling these X-Bowmen. And with just even masses and a huge misdistribution of resources for Kaiser, again, he's just not in the position to win here. Now, he does have a safe hunt. He will be able to gather, you know, resources to balance out his composition. But he's nowhere near Fortress Age here. He's going to need something like 700 wood. He is building a stable, 700 coin in order to give him the options that he needs to bring himself back into this game. But stable, while that is going to give him, you know, he just needs to be able to spend his wood. So the stable going up, it's a good call. He's going to need 700 coin, I think, in order to win this game. He needs to age up at some point to win this game. He can't win by making, you know, even just 5, 10 Yulins here because there's so many Tomahawks on the field. And like I was saying, you know, the longer this game goes, another unit upgrade shipment is liable for Knuschelbär here. Sorry for the lag. There we see infantry attack coming in for Knuschelbär, and like I was saying, the longer that this game stays in the colonial age, the worse it's going to get for Kaiserklein. Kaiserklein needs a lot of food right now. Gather up that 700 coin. Age up, just find that window. 6 Kanya horsemen coming together. Knuschelbär as well, the explorer, sitting at half health points. It's going to be really, really hard for Knusch here. Or sorry, Kaiser, pardon me. With only 10 pikemen, 15 pikemen, 20 pikemen. Okay, that's pretty good. But now you have super, super beefy Ayena. 139 hit points, 15 ranged attack with double the rate of fire of these Expo-men. These Expo-men, 100 hit points, 16 attack. These Ayena easily outclass these Expo-men. While, you know, Kaiser, he does have a slight score lead at the moment. Again, just taking the exact right engagements. Never getting caught out. Always being a scary impending force to keep Knuschelbär on his toes. Kaiser doing a really good job here. And I hope he has... Oh, he does not have the age up in queue. In fact, committing to age 2. Some more Yulins are going to join the fray. Kaiser doing a good job to focus fire down. Tomahawks, the Tomahawk mats, somewhat dwindling, but again... Oh, it's a very tenuous engagement. All of the melee units getting caught into snare. Or not caught into snare, but catching Knuschelbär's Kanyas in snare. Really good job. Now using the pikemen to siege down the barracks of Knuschelbär. Again, just excellent placement. It's going to be a tough fight, though. It's not easy. Every single upgrade card now in for Knuschelbär. His military is very, very powerful. Guys are still doing a really good job, though. A lot of these Kanya horsemen are very low health hit points. Only 9 or 11 Tomahawks still on the board, so not much in the way of anti-cavalry. Kaiserklein might be able to do it. He might be able to piece this together. 600 coin hitting the floor. More Yulins in queue. Pikemen taking down the war hut. He's got the counter push going. A 20 military unit population lead, as well as an economic lead. This is really, really well played at all stages by Kaiserklein, besides age 1, but that was mostly out of his control. Kaiserklein doing a really good job. You know, a raid coming out, just gonna do well for Knuschelbär, especially to stall Kaiserklein. But geez Louise, Kaiserklein really making the best of a bad situation. Where, you know, Germany is definitely not the civilization you want to be playing age 2 against Iroquois. You know, just Germany not getting the best unit upgrades. You see they have cavalry defense and cavalry attack, but there's not too much cavalry on the field. In fact, with that 600 coin, now going for the age up, having dealt so much damage, I'd like to see him monitor his hunts a little bit. In fact, maybe even go for the Lakota settlement over here and get the bisons in base. He's definitely going to need. Now gathering up all the coin in his base. A really good job by Kaiser. This is what he needs. I like this a lot. You know, he lost a few villagers there, a little bit sloppily, but that's okay because now he's going up to Fortress Age. He's going to get a tech advantage. Knusch might be distributing to age up himself. 600 coin, probably going to hit the field soon. Gathering some coin. Definitely going to look to get... Oh! Definitely going to look to go up himself. A little bit sloppy here. Again, against Knuschelbär, you got to know that he's going to be scouting out your resources around the map. You can't go for these sneaky, you know, vill placements around the map without having some supporting units behind it. Did lose a few more villagers there, and the economic population actually evening out here. Still, Kaiserklein is in the third age. and that's where he wants to be. Now, Knusch is also aging up to Fortress himself, but you have to keep in mind, actually, he used the Wise Woman to go up to age 1, so he's going to be able to age up fast to Fortress here. So even though I might say it's slightly Kaiser favored at this point, it's still a game. It's absolutely still a game because Iroquois' units are so powerful. Especially we see the War Chief with them now. Double boosted by the infantry attack and infantry defense cards that Knusch sent. Veteran Yulin and Veteran X-Woman having hit the board for Kaiserklein. 3 war wagons being shipped. Units in queue. Some war wagons in queue as well. Again, really good raids by Kaiserklein. Pardon me, Knuschelbär. Pikeman's coming out. And he is going to save every single one of those villagers. Good job, Kaiser. Going to take down a war hut as well as probably a market and a longhouse over by this aggressive position. But again, he has to be very careful because he doesn't know where the pincer attack might be. He has some line of sight now with the skirmishers coming forward. So he can anticipate that the military units from Knusch aren't coming for a pincer attack by the side. Now even getting some more line of sight with his Yulins over here. It does seem as though Knusch also lost some villagers at some point as well. Probably got raided by some Yulins, maybe over by this position or elsewhere around the map. Musket Rider is popping out, but getting a lot of DPS in from the X-Women's. Kaiserklein doing very well there. Small pot shots going off between the two players. The ranged infantry mass of Kaiserklein just jousting with the ranged infantry mass of Knuschelbär. But, you know, the more Forest Prowlers that get mixed into this composition, these are double-carded Forest Prowlers and liable to get even a 3rd upgrade, perhaps. Now, I don't think we'll see infantry combat come out for Knusch at this very moment. Instead, it'll probably be a unit shipment. Perhaps 5 Cuirassiers, 5 Renegade Cuirassiers. Iroquois' most powerful shipment in Age 3. Knusch is stacking a lot of coin, so I would figure that's what it would be. But there is plenty of war wagons and anti-cavalry for the German player here. 8 war wagons and a lot of Yulins here as well. 8 Force Prowlers actually hitting the board, getting some DPS on one of the war wagons. Oh, Yulins connecting, but the Force Prowlers coming forward. Nice converging shots from the reinforcements of Kaiser and his main mass. Kaiser doing a great job. Yeah, just looking at the military unit populations, Kaiser's doing a really good job to keep the Iroquois player suppressed, keep his numbers low. And the longer, you know, he's able to do that, the more the numbers game will go into the favor of Kaiserklein. Now, basically all of the AN are being taken down. All that's left are these Force Prowlers. Although the same can be said for the German player, most of the X-Women being taken out. A lot of Force Prowlers, Musket Riders on the field for the Iroquois player. The Anti-Cavalry Dragoon type unit for them. They are very powerful, very spongy as well. 30% range resistance and almost 300 hit points. Just look at this Force Prowler mass from Knuschelbär and look at the Skirmisher mass of the German player. A huge disparity, and even after having sent 8 Force Prowlers, you know, there's not going to be any more Force Prowlers coming from the home city of the Iroquois player to bolster this mass. So Kaiserklein is at a huge advantage here. Just basically able to decide the flow of the game at this point. You know, we do see some more raids coming down for Knusch. 3 AN is putting in work, killing a villager. Ooh, there you go. One villager dead, harassing the other ones as well. Building an outpost for some line of sight. Good job. And also utilizing his pikemen that were, you know, emplaced defensively to counter some raids, now being used to take down the trading post of Knusch. Oh, but a huge musket rider mass coming in. This 4 coin gathering location of Kaiserklein. But overall, you know, I haven't taken good note of it so far, but Kaiser has done a really good job to clean up a lot of errant Iroquois villagers around the map. Let's take a look at the units lost. 11 villagers lost for Knuschelbär. And probably you have to factor in some time where Knuschelbär was not training in villagers because he was under pressure or trying to max his units for, you know, in H2 to get a good engagement. So he's at a significant economic disadvantage, pardon me. And Kaiserklein is just establishing complete control here. He still does have some resources. He has 1,400 coin on this mine here and plenty of hunt. Last him a while. But what is he going to be able to do to win the game? You have to consider, boy, the unit's pretty disconnected. What can Knusch do to win this game at this stage? You know, he's outmassed in terms of skirmishers, and even though his skirmishers are of a very high quality, if he's, you know, constantly fighting with fewer numbers, he's never going to be able to excise a lead. He's trying to get some raids off, but at this point, Kaiser has enough map awareness and line of sight to be able to prevent that. Some Yulins coming in for a raid over here on Knusch's villagers, Knusch pulling them, and then bringing the musket riders back to prevent that. Oh, even some idle tomahawks, that's kind of funny. Been caught out by. But here it is, the strongest shipment, 5 cuirassiers, hitting the board for Knusch, but Knusch at this stage of the game, almost a 100-point deficit. 100 points behind. Even the production facility, the war hut now getting taken down here. And I wouldn't say that this is the deciding engagement of the game, but I feel like this might be the final one that we see here. And the cuirassier is coming forward, but one immediately getting taken down by the war wagons, another one getting taken down. A big crack shot off by the explorer, but the explorer now down for the Iroquois player. No more explorer on the field. Musket riders, good DPS on the Ulins. Or pardon me, Ulins. And not even all the units dead. It's a GG from Knuschelbär. 100 points down and running out of safe resources on the map before having to go exactly where Kaiserklein himself is gathering. Knuschelbär chooses to call the game, which puts Kaiserklein on match point. 3-1 in our best of 7 series. Of course, we will see a change of map in the next game, I believe. Actually, I believe it's going to be High Plains again. Let's just take a look at the graphs first before hopping into that. Now, what's important to look at is the military unit graphs here, because you see, you know, that first initial engagement, especially off the back of that unfortunate age 1 for Kaiser. Not a great start for Kaiser, but again, pieced it together, got the mass he needed, jockeyed for position. Didn't take the best engagement here, but it was good enough. Then he was able to, you know, with that 3-dop shipment, push out and take a good engagement. It was a fair engagement, I should say. But fair was good enough for him to give him the time to age up to the fortress age safely. And that's what he needed. And with that safe age up, Knusch followed him up, but Knusch wasn't able to put on the pressure that he needed. Knusch was able to get in some raids at this time, but that was okay because Kaiserklein was working with an economic advantage throughout the entire game. And he continued to do so because he also got in some counter raids on Knusch. Getting it over here, and then, you know, harassing his villagers over here. Some idle time in Knusch, which didn't grant him the economic lead. And just Germany doing Germany things, getting a massive lead in terms of military unit population, taking, again, pot shots, small engagements, keeping the Iroquois forces down. Really well played by Kaiserklein, which brings us to match point in our series, at least for one of our players. Kaiserklein leading 3-1, only needs one more game to win. The map is going to be High Plains one more time. Knuschelbär will get the opportunity to choose any civilization. That will be his locked pick, and then he will get the Kaiserklein will get the counter pick with a WarChief civilization. Ottoman coming out for Knuschelbär, but the first time we've seen Kaiserklein play something besides Iroquois or Germany. Even in his round of 8 series, I believe he played exclusively Germany and Iroquois. But in this game, it's going to be Sioux. For the first time since the round of 8. Now, Ottoman usually a good pick on High Plains due to their ability to take control of the trading post line and their proclivity to get trading posts in general. But against Sioux, it can be particularly difficult, as the Sioux units just do so well to fight against the Ottoman incursion. But on match point, game 5 of our best of 7 series is Kaiserklein in the Sioux, again to the northwest of the map, northeast, pardon me. And down by the southwest, we have Knuschelbär in the color green, playing as the Ottoman. Initially, Knusch actually going a much more different path than one would normally take on this map. Usually players like to go towards this trading post, because by the time your explorer has walked over there and begun to build the trading post, the Travois man will just in time be hopping around to grant you that initial experience bonus. Instead, Knusch, probably anticipating that Kaiserklein is also going to send his S-tier Sioux explorer by that side of the map. He's not going to go there at all. He's instead going to go towards the south of the map, where Kaiser wouldn't normally expect Knusch to send his explorer. Even Kaiserklein now recognizing it, jetting across the map in order to harass that explorer and get an advantage that way in Age 1. Really interesting, really good. Kaiser does see that the trading post went up, so he even diverted the path with his explorer to bend around the corner and catch Knuschelbär's escaping Abdul ibn Mehid. Really smart plays, especially with that picked up Iroquois Tomahawk. Native treasure. He's definitely going to be able to put in a lot of damage on this Explorer and probably even take him down before the Explorer is able to get to Knuschelbär's town center. So where we saw a huge Age 1 lead for Knusch in the previous game, we're going to see a huge Age 1 lead for Kaiserklein in this one. But when all is said and done, it does seem as though Knusch is going to have a pretty good age up time. He's going to be aging at 3 minutes and 55 seconds. That's the moment that he will hit the colonial age. And he did get his trading post up, so it's not all bad. I mean, lost his explorer, not going to be able to scout, not going to be able to treasure, but he got the trading post, so should be good enough. Still, having lost the explorer significantly restricts the number of options Knuschelbär can do, or strategies that he can go for, while also amply preparing for what the counterplay from the Sioux player might be. Basically, what I'm saying here is if Knusch wanted to go for an aggressive build order, say send 2 villagers forward and build a double barracks Janissary rush, do something like that. At this point, we definitely know it's not happening. But if that were the strategy that Knuschelbär had wanted to go for, because he lost his Explorer and his ability to scout what the Sioux player is going to do and the ability to defend his forward emplacement, it would just be so much worse for him because he wouldn't know what Kaiserklein is preparing for, what he is able to field, whether or not Kaiserklein is going for a war hut or a stable to start with, whether or not Kaiserklein is sending 6 Seton bows. In fact, very peculiar. I see Knuschelbär going for Silk Road, despite having lost his Explorer in Age 2. Sorry, Age 1, pardon me. Now even seeing the Iroquois Tomahawk going forward, gonna avoid by that, but back a little bit, just trying to evade the line of sight. Oh, she's gonna contest it. Silk Road, very interesting here. So we do see a forward barracks, not super forward, so not super aggressive. But also not taking much more of the trade line. And usually if you're going to send Silk Road, you'd want to take more of the trading post line and work your way towards getting a strong stagecoach going. But as it stands at the moment, this Silk Road has basically been 100 plus 100 wood, because it converted the 400 wood into 500 wood. That's its bonus. It gives crates 25% more resources, and it also buffs stagecoach trading posts. It gives them more resources when the Travois man comes around. But as soon as the next shipment comes in for Knuschelbär, you will also be getting some value from Silk Road. I think 700 times 0.25. Oh, caster math, that would be about 200 resources. So Silk Road would have effectively been 300 resources at that point. But now building some more trading posts, but Popcapped might even lose a villager because of that if he doesn't build a house soon enough. But going for the 3rd stage trading post at the moment. In fact, I'm not sure that this trading post in particular will actually go up before the stagecoach has arrived, so he might miss a pass. But looking at what the Sioux player has done, built a war hut, built a lot of TPs, in base, sufficiently cloistered. We don't actually see a lot of units for Kaiserklein yet, so it does seem like it's just going to be a pure naked FF. He is going to establish 2 trading posts for himself. Of course, Knusch now sieging down the first trading post that Kaiserklein had built, that he can establish it for himself. Probably in anticipation to age up. Kaiserklein now going up himself for the Fortress Age, so this is going to be a Fortress v Fortress battle by the seams of it. Kaiserklein the first to Fortress. We'll have to see what his first shipment is going to be. Now, with the knowledge that Knusch is going for Janissaries at the moment, he's sieging down the trading post, establishing the line for himself. I might not be surprised to see 5 rifle riders as the first shipment from Kaiserklein, but I know that Kaiserklein doesn't value rifle riders more than they should be worth. You know, he's pretty conservative, so maybe he'll go for something like 9 Wakina as his first shipment and just play it safe. But those rifle riders, if he were to go for them, would do a pretty good job in, harassing these non-upgraded Janissaries as they're retreating from mid-map towards the base of Knuschelbär. Yeah, it does seem like the first shipment, 5 rifle riders, 5 trained Wakinas from that war hut. And gonna get into snare with the Janissaries. Look at that. One blast from these rifle riders takes down a Janissary, and they have an immense rate of fire. Look at that. Just, the entire mass getting cleaned up here. Knusch. Wow, this is an interesting build order. I think perhaps he might be going for 1,000 coin, and, just looking at his food stack, maybe he's going for a fast industrial? Now we see Kaiserklein contesting the trading post line, going to siege down one of the trade posts. Some more units coming forward. 8 Wakinas and 3 rifle riders. Okay, so it does seem I was wrong in my call. Probably just stacking a lot of food by accident. 1,000 wood is going to be the first shipment, so we'll have to see maybe once he's picked up this treasure. Knuschelbär is going to place maybe a town center over by this side. There's lots and a lot of resources. And similar to what we saw in this matchup in the Grand Tour Playoffs Finals, it was Kaiserklein versus Mito. They actually did play this matchup. It was on Arizona, Sioux versus Iroquois. Sioux versus Ottoman. Strategies were much different in that game, or at least much different from the Sioux side. Sioux actually committed to an Age 2 cavalry push against the Age 3 Ottoman player who went for a very economic style. Again, with Silk Road, Kaiserklein was playing as the Ottoman. He went for Silk Road. He sent 1,000 wood as his first shipment in Age 3, and he built 2 town centers. That's all here. But 2 Falconets being the shipment from Knuschelbär, and even with really good cavalry archer production, I don't think that's going to be... Look at this. These rifle riders are going to melt these Falconets. That said, I mean, it wasn't a totally cost-effective trade. I mean, we saw, what, 7 or so rifle riders go down, trade for 2 Falconets, which is only worth 1,000 resources. And those rifle riders are very costly. However, having now lost the Falconets, Knusch doesn't really have the compositional balance to continue engaging with the Sioux player who has Wakina rifle riders, Sioux boosted speed. He wouldn't really be able to take that engagement when Wakinas are technically the counter unit to cavalry archers. But another huge batch of cav archers. And really, Knusch is in a good spot, in my opinion. He's got a strong economy behind this, especially with the stagecoach, three town centers going up, establishing a lot of control. Those are going to be really difficult for the Sioux player to siege down because siege is not something that Sioux excels at. Now even going for the trading post himself. Kaiserklein going to destroy another one. Maybe even build it. Or to trade, perhaps. Or maybe he might just keep his Sioux Explorer with his... No, so he's going to build that trading post. You see an artillery foundry out for Knuschelbär. And I'd like to see him train some Falconets, especially with 1,000 coin hitting the board. The stagecoach line probably supplying him with the wood he needs for the production of those. And I do think that, let's see the units in queue. falconets is what he's going to go for, because Knusch has a great mass of anti-cavalry. These cavalry archers perform quite well against the Sioux military. And say if Knuschelbär is able to field maybe like 4 or 5 falconets, that's going to do very well to clean up this Wakina mass. And once you start to get low on your Wakina count, you know, the cavalry archers start to perform quite well against them, even though, you know, technically Wakina rifles, they're a skirmisher, they should be a counter unit to these cav archers. Might even see cav combat as the next shipment from Knuschelbär. A lot of contention going around the stagecoach line, and of course Kaiserklein doing a very good job to establish control for himself. It's now dead even, basically. I mean, it's 2 trading posts to 2 trading posts. Knusch does have Silk Road, but after having had to invest a shipment in that, of course, it's not so optimal when it's not granting you the maximum benefit possible. See 3 falconets join the fray. Gonna siege down a trading post, so the falconets are going to be revealed. So Kaiserklein will have awareness of what he needs to do and how he needs to engage in this game, now that he's seen the 3 falconets on the field from Knuschelbär. So it's not going to have the surprise factor. But then again, you know, falconets, they're quite a slow unit. It's kind of hard to get into a situation where you can, quote, snare, you know, or capture the opponent's army with falconets, just because they're so immobile. Especially Sioux. But still, taking down those falconets could prove to be a challenge for Kaiserklein. Even though the Sioux units are so good, these Sioux cavalry units, look at that, they have even a multiplier, a ranged multiplier against artillery. And this Explorer also does very well against them. Oh, some shots might go off here. Might even take down the Explorer. Oh, the Explorer's so low. In fact, it being this low is probably more detrimental than it dying at this point. Because what Kaiserklein could do to revive it, he could just, you know, set some villagers to the fire pit and then revive it at max health rather than having it start an engagement with 40 health. In fact, I would like to see Kaiserklein do that. Just sacrifice the Sioux Warchief and revive him back at your pit at full hit points. But oh my gosh, see, this is what I mean. You need to get the right timing, the right engagement. Gonna focus fire down the falconets now, but this is not looking too good for Kaiser, really. I mean, he's only gotten down 2 falconets at this moment, but he's lost a lot of bow riders in trade for it. He's taking down a lot of the cavalry archers with his Wakinas. So I think all together, maybe it's good for Kaiser? But overall, I mean, Kaiser, he lost all of his dog soldiers, I believe. He lost a lot of bow riders, so he lost a lot of anti-cavalry there. Knusch has sent cavalry combat. He might have another I believe he has a shipment on the way, and that could potentially be a very strong waterfront shipment from Knuschelbär. That could be the 5 Spahi, or 4 Mamluks, or 9 Manchu, which could fare very well against this small 5 Spahi, but popping out at the wrong place, at the wrong town center. Choosing the wrong time to engage, gonna lose a lot of cavalry archers there for not great value. But we do see falconets coming to reinforce, and 5 Spahi bending around. Oh, this could be a really good engagement. The cavalry archers now coming forward. Here it is. This is going to be a winning engagement. This could win it for Knuschelbär or just not be enough. But it's go time for one of these players. Both of these players, really, but in particular one. I'd really like to see these Spahis connect on the Wakina. The longer these stay, now that bow riders being focused on the Spahi, we even see the falconet coming forward. Not going to get great value, but look at this. 4 Spahi still alive. All the bow riders out of position. All the Wakinas getting cleaned up. Just look at the score. Oh my god, did you see that? All those dead Wakinas. Even on the exposed gathering location of Kaiserklein. And that is GG in what is usually considered a very, very Sioux-favored matchup. Knuschelbär, with his Cavalry Archer Falconet strategy, taking the game. Silk Road, a really bad Age 1. No treasures. Lost his Explorer. Was still able to pull it back. And that's going to put him just slightly closer to taking this series for himself. It is 3-2, so Knuschelbär is still down. But he's not out of it yet. And we will be seeing a Game 6 and potentially a Game 7. For that, let's take a look at the graph, see exactly where it fell to pieces. So I think Kaiserklein, I think he did a really good job. Of course, he got away with his strategy, which was, a naked FF. I'm going to max out on my economy. I've just destroyed my opponent's H1. I've severely limited the number of strategies that he can go for that would punish my strategy, which is very economic fast fortress. He did a really good job there, and then I think he did a really good job contesting the line. But in regards to taking these engagements with the Ottoman player around the map, this engagement we saw around this Cometk settlement, where we saw the 3 falconets and the cavalry archer mass, the bow riders just got caught around this tree mass, and of course the blocking cavalry archers. They weren't able to focus fire down the falconets like he needed to, and by committing to that engagement, I think Kaiserklein kind of made a fumble there, and it didn't exactly go to his favor. And then after that, again, getting caught out of position, engaging too far into Knuschelbär's base, where he had perfect line of sight, and Kaiserklein did not. He got caught out of position by the Spahi, the cavalry archers, and that was a death sentence. Pardon me, I was supposed to look at the graphs, but instead I just talked about the game. But there you go. It's the Spahis being the win, the clinch. After having taken down so many bow riders, Knusch made the right play, sent a cavalry shipment, especially after having sent cavalry combat for his cavalry archers. Good play. But again, it's worth mentioning, it is a match point. Kaiserklein only needs one more point on the board. Kaiserklein will have the opportunity to lock any civilization. Knuschelbär will get the opportunity to counterpick, but that will be with only Sioux, Iroquois, or Aztec. So it does seem like we might be seeing a repeat of Game 4, Germany versus Iroquois. Kaiserklein locking Germany and Knuschelbär counterpicking with Iroquois, but the map this time, instead of High Plains, it's UIX ESOC Arkansas. Match point for Kaiserklein, 3-2. But Knuschelbär proving himself, bringing it back from a 1-3 series to 2-3. He is keeping himself alive in this series. Potentially moving himself on to the finals if he's able to clinch these last 2 games. We'll see Kaiserklein to the west of the map. He's playing in the color blue as his locked civilization, Germany. On the other hand, we have the east side in the color green, Knuschelbär. He's playing as the Iroquois, which was his counterpick civilization. And I believe so far the only native civilization that he has played throughout this series. Hasn't chosen Sioux or Iroquois quite yet. But another, like we saw in the last game, another treasure contention around this 60 food treasure being creeped by Kaiserklein. Seems like Kaiser might be the one to get that, and Knusch going to recognize that and try to get the Explorer into snare there. But instead of having the Pistolero to back up this Iroquois Explorer at the moment, it'll just be mano a mano. Zweiführer versus Johann Hermann. Of course, the Germans would have my head for that pronunciation, but what can you do? I've just got an American tongue. I do the best that I can. So Kaiserklein actually doing pretty well for himself. 50 coin, 30 coin, 60 food. There's nothing on the board for Knuschelbär yet. Might be getting this 80 food. Nice pickup. Gonna get a black bear with it too. Kaiserklein instead, gonna pick up another 50 coin treasure. That's a really good beaver pelt. That is one high quality beaver. HQ beaver. So Kaiserklein, I don't think he's scouted out this location quite yet, but he does have a line of sight of his second hunt and a potential third hunt. Knusch, on the other hand, his hunts are a little bit more dire. He's going to have to push out a little bit for them. His extension for this hunt over here is quite a ways away, about a town center's length. He does have a secure second hunt, though. Kaiserklein is looking to take this 95 wood treasure over here. In fact, there seems to be a contention over it. Although, who might be the victor of that? That's going to be hard to tell. I don't know if Knuschelbär actually has his convert ability prepared. And considering the German Explorer has a higher health points at the moment, Iroquois player is definitely not going to be able to take that. This game does seem as though, I think it's a wise woman build order again from Knuschelbär, aging up 14 villagers instead of 13. A little bit less ambitious, but definitely a sensible play. So Knusch is going to be able to convert a guardian from that 3 pirate treasure. Self a pirate, which is a very useful converted guardian to have. And Knuschelbär sending his age up Travois to this forward location with his third hunt. And also the foundation for a trading post going up, and likewise for the German player, that's what I would expect. A little bit late on the ball, so not quite getting that trading post established as soon as possible. As soon as he possibly could have, instead of scouting around this map. But both players are going to get a trading post on the line. Forward war hut we see from Knuschelbär. Kaiserklein just gonna prod around with his explorer towards Knuschelbär's base, kind of just scout out what Knusch is up to. Even picking up the settler treasure for himself. Getting in a bit of a raid, gonna force some idle time. And these pikemen's barreling forward, trying to siege down this trading post, but I don't think that Kaiserklein was actually aware of the basing location of the Iroquois player.
Ich bin verwundet und kann mich nicht bewegen.
So we do see some pressure starting to manifest for Knuschelbär here, but with that said, Kaiserklein is actually on the way to age 3 already himself. A pretty normal age up time, 7 minutes 40 seconds. Gonna be up at, I believe, 8 minutes and 25 seconds, but actually instead of going towards Kaiserklein's main base, Kaiserklein even putting up a pretty nice defensive wall. I really like that. Just gonna take down the trading post. Seems stacking some food himself. I'm not sure if he's going to put that into more Ayena and maybe the big buttons. The big button from the town center, which grants 5 tomahawks. Maybe he'll send 600 coin, gather some coin to age up. And that does seem to be like what Knuschelbär is going to opt for. So I think he's going to send 600 coin, gather to age up. Maybe jockey a little bit with the German player to just buy him some time. But after that, Knusch is going to be aging up himself. Yeah, there you go. I like this play. It makes it seem like Knusch is kind of committed to some age 2 pressure. But in reality, Knusch is just buying some time for himself. Of course, I don't think Knusch should be extending that far. Nice shot off, did kill a pikeman, but I don't think he should get himself into a position where he's going to be... Like, here we go. Here's the 8 skirms, so you gotta be wary of that. I wouldn't even commit to... I mean, it's unfortunate you didn't get the house down, but... Oh, no! It's a very tricky situation. You can't commit too hard, or else you'll get caught out, lose all your units, and, you know, just the idea of buying yourself time here to better stabilize yourself in Fortress will be completely for naught. But with that said, Knusch will be on his way up at the moment. Bought himself enough time. Of course, the counter push for Kaiserklein is on the way. So Knusch is still like maybe about 60 seconds behind the German player in terms of getting stabilized in the Fortress Age. Oh, the shot just getting out of line of sight. But like I said, you know, Knusch, he did a good job jousting there. Just bought himself enough time to get up to the Fortress Age safely. Now has 2 war huts at this forward location. 3 war wagons have shipped for Kaiserklein, but a shipment is also on the way for Knuschelbär, and he will have another follow-up shipment, which will probably hit as soon as this engagement is starting to unravel around this forward location. Instead, just sieging down the trade post for now, gearing up Kaiserklein. 8 force prowlers hitting the board for Knusch, which in fact might be just enough to push this away. There you go. Gonna save the trading post for now. And something I like from Knusch is he's selected a villager around the map. He's got a good line of sight around the map. Of course, he might lose some villagers if there's like a raid that's impending, but he'll get knowledge, and that's quite important. He even has some line of sight around here, a low HP Ayena, as well as the Iroquois Tomahawk treasure. Even some line of sight here on this next hunt and the next silver mine for the German player with this coyote, pardon me, wolf. Kaiserklein even choosing to send his anti-cavalry or his siege over to this longhouse, which I believe he's scouted out. Probably going to begin sieging that down. See, an engagement towards mid-map. So, I'm not actually going to, pardon me, not going to elect to try to save that that longhouse. Just gonna sack it in the back of it, sending the 1200 all resources shipment. Gonna help him to get some infrastructure down on the field. Of course, he does have good production at the moment. 2 war huts and a corral. Now moving out on the map with some just some unupgraded H2 units. I think that's a smart play. Maybe even aware of the location of where that... oh no. So this treasure was over here. I don't think you would ever expect the settler treasure to have walked over to this end of the map. But he is going to be sending these trash units down around the bend to where the coyote, or the wolf, was once guarding. Silver mine of the hunt. Might get some villager kills. But again, just massing up. And I do think that massing up like this kind of goes to the favor of the the Iroquois player somewhat. Because the Iroquois player is just going to have vastly better ranged infantry. Now, we see the Jaegers hitting, and that's a really important thing for Kaiserklein, because that's going to... The Jaegers are just so powerful, but so are the force prowlers. But if the German player were only fielding skirmishers, his force prowlers would easily outclass them. But with the Jaegers to balance out the the difference in strength between the 2 units, the force prowlers and the skirms, it's a good call, I would say. These villagers going to get caught out. Going to lose both of them, but again, some information for Knuschelbär. So I think he was okay losing those 2 villas. I think it was kind of according to plan even. But look at this. It could be a huge raid for Knuschelbär. So the units are converging. A good settler wagon pull from Kaiserklein. Not going to lose anything at this very moment. Full HP Explorer is also a very good boon for the Iroquois player. Might even get a crack shot in here. There we go, going forward. Oh, nice shots off on the war wagons. Gonna take down 2 of those for basically nothing. 1 force prowler was that trade. Oh, but the Explorer quite exposed. Down another force prowler, Kaiserklein. Might even see another raid go down by this side. Yeah, nice use of these trash units. I think there were trash units over here for Knuschelbär, but they probably got cleaned up by some other units. Now fighting back, Knuschelbär, still very tenuous. Not wanting to overcommit. But infantry combat has arrived for the new green player. Oh, look at that shot off by the, the Iroquois Explorer. That crack shot just provides so much value over the course of the game. We are going to see a small raid, in fact, over here. Knusch now sending over his musket riders, but he's really not able to do so. Gonna lose a lot of ills. But he can't send over all of his musket riders because, you know, there's a huge mass of veteran Ulan. Some more jousting going off between the ranged infantry masses of both players. Oh! What is going on over here? Oh, it seems like this is go time for Kaiserklein. Now all of the Ulans coming forward. 9 Ulans also being shipped. We'll have to see what Knusch can do. Of course, he's going to have to kite back, but these... Oh, even the Explorer is liable to go down at this point. Really good snare. And this is very, very pressing for Knuschelbär. I think most of the musket riders being cleaned up here. Killed a lot of Ulans, but also lost a lot. And most importantly, you know, just the ranged infantry mass of Knuschelbär got whittled down to the point where I don't know if he's going to be able to contest Kaiserklein's ranged infantry backing, even though, you know, he has this upgrade, the infantry combat, a very powerful upgrade on his force prowlers. Now at a significant economic disadvantage, the Doppelsaudner raid to the top. Just having dealt so much. So Knusch is actually dancing for his Explorer back at the moment. He's going to get it back to full HP, 1500 hit points. It's a monster, but still outmassed, and even cavalry combat coming in for the German player, which is going to pretty much even out, you know, combat for the force prowlers. 5 renegade cuirassiers are hitting the field, and there aren't too many war wagons. But oh, some bad shots off, losing a musket rider for free. Now Kaiserklein is also aware that there are the cuirassiers on the board for the Iroquois. Again, there's just so much cavalry here for Kaiserklein, and not enough musket riders really. Big shot off by the Explorer. 5 cuirassiers connecting, but the Ulan's in a great position. Those cuirassiers just getting wiped. None of them on the board anymore. Explorer getting focus fired down, but it's not going to be enough. And that will be GG, well played, to Kaiserklein, our first finalist of the ESOC WarChiefs Classic 2. So we will see Kaiserklein move on to the final series.